Hello everyone, and hope you all are doing great. Welcome back to our series of lecture on strategic and human resource management. The topic under discussion today is training and development. So let's start with this chapter. Now, what is training and what is development? We'll discuss each and every part of that how employees are supposed to be trained, what are the different methods, what are different types, different sources. Well, we'll be discussing in detail that what process of training should be applied in order to perform the job and how employees should be imparted in that. So we'll discuss. So by the end of this chapter, we will be having all the basic training process. We'll be discussing about training requirements and the do and don'ts. Then few of the training techniques we will be discussing and covering all these topics. So let's start with our first topic, that is after the employee has been selected. Now this is the phase of orientation. Now what is orientation? Orientation is basically, in simpler terms, we called it onboarding. That the employee has joined the organization, that employee is part of the organization. So we welcome that employee. हम किसी को भी जब welcome करते हैं अपने पास तो हम orientation देते हैं. So we tell that person that what actually we are having on our board in terms of like organization में भी क्या उसकी basic background information दी जाती है. It have like अगर हम बात करें different contents की तो we mention about different information related to employee benefits, policies, that person's daily routine, what are the organizations that company की organization कर क्या रही है, what is the background operations. Also, we brief that person about our safety measures and regulations, and followed by a facilitation tour that can be done. So all these things are some of the basic content. If I talk about like employee handbook, it's also one of the major part. बहुत से organizations employee handbook दी जाती है जिसमें details सारी mention होती हैं कि what are the things that can be done, what are the rules, your dress code, your timings. So regarding your leave policy, either even other things like other if some unforeseen situation happens, what needs to be done, like in terms of safety measures and regulations, like what are the, maybe in the facilitation tour they also show you the exit points. So all these things, also where is the cafeteria, where is like maybe refreshment, that bar. So anything else that can be or given in the orientation, just to have a brief idea that where it what is located and what needs to be done and how you are going to cope up if you have having any problem, where is your boss cabins, where are your subordinate sitting. So that's the आपको एक facilitation tour की तरह you are being guided. So this is basically orientation. So now, like if we discuss in particularly, these are four things needs to be accomplished through this orientation. Number one, make them feel at ease and welcome them. Like this is like something you need to welcome them and realize them that they are part of that organization. So give them the sense of like you are, that you are also now you have joined us and you are also part. So tell them about the broader, like what actually our organization is doing, how your task or how your responsibilities are going to add on, then what exactly is needed from you, from your particular task and particular job. Last but not the least, help that person in socializing, like with your peers, with your colleagues, and what is the right way of doing the things over here, what are the policies. So all these type of things needs to be mentioned towards our any new employee, those who have just joined an organization. Okay. So we have, after the orientation, now the basic, the main things comes on is the training phase. Some organizations lack in that. Some organizations does not feel that this needs to be done from the start. Some organizations feel that whenever there is a need, then we'll be generating. Sometimes it can be done after your orientation as well, like right after your orientation training can begin. So again, it depends on the organization that how they need to cater it. Now we'll start at what is training. The word training, if you break out train, you need to teach your employees the basic skills they need to perform any task, any job. So that is basically training. There are different methods. We'll discuss in detail that what methods can be done. but to any employee to excel in that work, to excel in any task, they need some guidance. So that guidance is basically training. There is another concept of strategic concept of context of training. Basically, whatever you are doing, it should be aligned with towards the organizational goal. So whatever it's, I can say that जो आपकी job description, the job specification, it helps a lot in this thing as well, because then you can have the idea that why you have been hired, what is the purpose, and how your goal is, the thing you are doing is aligned towards the organizational goal. So that's how strategic context of training is being aligned. Also, it helps us to find out your performance management as well. Like if you talk about performance management, at how you're performing, either you are able to do what is being assigned, what is being assessed, and then if required, you can be given training as well. And lastly, you are being rewarded on that thing. Okay. Now this is some of the few of the steps. These are 5 steps training and development process needs to be done. If you talk about the first step, need analysis. First of all, you need to see either there is a need towards that particular individual, that either that person actually needs the training or not. So basically this is the first phase to analyze either training is needed or not. So basically what we do, we identify key job performance skills, then we see the trainee skills and develop objectives कि हमें क्या करना है, वाकई में उस बंदे को जरूरत है या नहीं, उस एम्प्लॉई को, ट्रेनी को, and then we develop objectives accordingly. Second thing is instructional design. When we have done with that, we need to produce our content, like हम उसको किस तरह train करेंगे, either workbooks, either exercises, either activities, whatever the methodology we are going to go with that, we need to design. Then we need to see that either this presentation, whatever I'm going to train, is good or not. If I'm going to present in a larger audience or a larger target number, so I can test on 2 or 3 people just to have an idea, ताकि वो validate हो जाए. Lastly, we need to implement on the targeted employees, that people who we want to train, and we can come to the evaluation, that is the feedback, either that program has been successful or not. So this is basically training and development process that needs to be done everywhere in all the organizations. There are different methods, either person analysis, task analysis. We need to see that उस बंदे को कोई सॉफ्ट स्किल्स की जरूरत है, हार्ड स्किल्स की जरूरत है, या some related to his task, like अगर वो task उसका he is working or she is working somewhere, maybe if we say that that employee is working on a factory, and factory में he has to operate some machine, जो machine जो से नहीं चल पा रही, so again maybe that type of training we need to give. So we need to identify that what type of training we are looking over here. So these are few of the points, like before making the learning, you can say अगर हमें एक अच्छी training देनी किसी भी employee को, so first of all we need to do, we need to make the learning meaningful. कोई भी training start करने से पहले make it meaningful. What's the meaning of meaningful? Have a bird eye view of the material to be presented. कुछ भी जो बोलोगे, जो बताओगे, उसको जो प्रेजेंट करोगे, उसका एक बर्ड आई व्यू देखो, लाइक क्या करोगे, क्या हमने होने वाला है, मे बी एक समरी, मे बी व्हाट इज एक्चुअली द पर्पस ऑफ दिस. सो वी नीड टू कीप इन माइंड, ऑलवेज ट्राई टू गो विद द डिफरेंट एग्जांपल्स, ताकि उस बंदे को समझ आए जो भी हम ट्रेनिंग जिसको हम देना चाह रहे हैं, जो भी हमारा एम्प्लॉई है. Have different types of, like maybe information, जिस तरह हम कहते हैं ना, information can be in different patterns, in different logics. We'll discuss about all these, but हम different types में जब बात करेंगे इसमें बहुत सी इसमें हम present करते हैं logically, but we need to present in such a way ताकि उसको different directions and different maybe उसका जो dimensions उसको समझ आए कि what exactly we are training that person for. Then always use those terms and concepts that are familiar with the trainee. And last, use as many visual aids, बस because sometimes कुछ चीज़ें बोलने से समझ नहीं आती, कोई पिक्चर से, पिक्टोरियल से, मे बी sometimes video से, sometimes audio से, so we can have different visual aids as much as possible. Then make skills transfer easy. Another very important point, whatever you are going to go with that, make it very easy to transfer so that that person is able to cope up and also digest whatever you're saying. जो भी हम कहूँ उसको समझ आ रही है ना, कि पूरी ट्रेनिंग होगी बट उसको समझ ही ना आए. So again, that would be very difficult and another problematic situation. So always maximize the similarity between training situation and the work situation. Whatever you're going to train, it should be related to the work he's actually doing. Always provide adequate practice. The more he's going to practice, and he or she is going to practice, the more he or she is going to be like उसको ज़्यादा समझ आएगी, ज़्यादा retain कर पाएगा. Then जो भी चीजें हैं आप उसको step by step procedure में लेकर जाओ, one by one. अगर आपको कोई चीज करवानी तो like don't go मतलब एकदम conclusion में जंप नहीं करो, step by step उसको लेके चलो, like chunk into या pieces हम करें one by one. Then direct the trainees attention to important aspects of the job. Always see कि ज़्यादा important क्या चीज बताना है. Like sometimes we have some important points, कोई हमारे जो headers हैं या sometimes जो हमारे जो main चीजें हैं, terms हैं, we need to tell the employee कि this is like these things needs to be like maybe अगर हम उसको memorize करवाना है या याद कराना है या whatever like techniques हैं, that should be done. Oh, okay, the last point. Always be head up while preparing for any information. Like we need to be like seeing the future. हमें पहले से सोचना पड़ेगा being an HR person or training and development person कि आगे क्या आने वाला है, क्या चीजें जॉब में आ सकती हैं, क्या सिचुएशन हो सकती है. Because we are over here simulating whatever that person is going to do or performing on the job. So हमें उसी के तरीके से उसी का निस्बत रखते हुए हमें सोचना है कि हमें इस तरह की क्या चीज डिलीवर करनी है ताकि that makes that person easily transferable. Another very important point in terms of motivation towards the learner is motivate the learner. The person, that employee we are going to train, we need to motivate that person as well. That we need to be realistic in terms of like if that person is having slow or is not able to get what we are saying, so we need to maybe हम थोड़ा सा अपने आप को slow down कर दें. Being the प्रेजेंटर हमें उसके साथ लेके चलने ताकि उसको समझ आ रही. ट्रेनर को चाहिए कि रीइंफोर्समेंट कराए, बार बार पूछे, फीडबैक दे. ट्रेन समझ नहीं आ रही, बहुत दफा ट्रेनिंग्स अपनी पेस पे जा रहे थे, दे आर नॉट कोपिंग अप. सो यू नीड टू सी दैट आइदर दे आर एबल टू कोप अप बीइंग द ट्रेनर. ऑल्सो ट्राई टू हैव आप ट्रेनिंग की माइंड में बिल्कुल ये रखो एक टाइम बार है, अगर आपकी कोई टाइम लाइन है, क्या चीज़ हमें इस चीज़ में करनी है, सो दैट दे कैन ऑल्सो हैव दैट पर्टिकुलर थिंग इन माइंड कि हम किस चीज़ में कितनी दफ़ा हम कर सकते हैं रीइंफोर्समेंट और कितना हमारे पास टाइम है हर एक्टिविटी हर काम को करने के लिए. सो बिकॉज वी डू हैव सम मे बी हमारे पास कोई टाइम लिमिट हो, सम मे बी आपके पास कोई डेडलाइन हो या व्हाटसोएवर लाइक जो आपके पास मेंशन है. Lastly, the schedule is important too. The learning curve goes down late in the day, less than day full payment is more effective. Okay, it depends कि आपकी organization किस तरह इसको लेके चल रही है. It's usually said कि down the day अगर आप ज़्यादा करोगे तो हो सकता है वो आप इतनी अच्छी numbers after the whole day of working you are maybe drained or you are like you are not that much active or so again depends कि आप full day activity पे जाना चाह रहे हैं. Sometimes it's being broken as well 2 day हम कर देते हैं. एक again अच्छा ये this is something related to कि अगर किसी को कुछ लोगों को ज़्यादा होता है कि सुबह के टाइम पे they are more motivated, charged, energetic होते हैं. But obviously सारा दिन गुजरने के बाद they become less motivated. So again you need to see that what schedule you need to maintain in terms of motivating and to keep the learner on pace. Then comes the stage of we need to analyze our training material, that what exactly we are going to offer. So there are two things, one is task analysis and one is performance analysis. First of all, you need to see what is the task, a detailed study of the job to identify the specific skills required specifically for new employee. Because जब एक नया बंदा हायर होता है जिसको नहीं पता कि क्या टास्क परफॉर्म करना है, तो वी नीड टू ट्रेन. समटाइम्स इवन टू आवर करंट एम्प्लॉयज वी नीड टू ट्रेन कि उसका जो टास्क है वो सही तरह नहीं कर पा रहे. तो वी नीड टू सी दैट हाउ वी कैन इम्प्रूव देयर परफॉर्मेंस और हाउ वी कैन ब्रेक दिस ताकि हम उसको सही तरह ट्रेन कर सकें. In terms of performance analysis, we can see their performance deficiencies and determine what could be done. Either we are going to train or sometimes अगर बहुत ज़रूरत है कि हमें अगर किसी और डिपार्टमेंट में या किसी को ट्रांसफर करना है या because we need to analyze the performance. If he or she is not able to perform, हम बहुत दफ़ा आपकी performance analysis we can see through आपके जो appraisals हैं हम उसके through भी दिख सकते हैं. Yeah, sometimes we also check your performance analysis through different maybe आपके जो पहले data like productivity, absenteeism, late अगर आप late आते हो ऑफिस में या how you're dealing and how you are coping up with other stuff. Sometimes it's also your observation by your supervisor. So all these things comes together. Also sometimes your attitude survey, your assessment center results, like और भी जो भी चीजें आप आपके organizations in terms of performance analyze करें, you can have that, and you can identify that there is a possibility of the training or that person needs to be sent to maybe home or maybe to another department, depends. Okay. So this is basically a sample, just for example, we have a task analysis record form. So these are the things that needs to be done. Like if we see on the like बिल्कुल हमारे left corner में, this is task list, that what task needs to be done. Then we have when and how often performed, quantity and quality, conditions under which performed, skills or knowledge required, and where best learned. So this is basically एक हमने टास्क एनालिसिस किया था कि अगर ये टास्क करने में कहाँ जरूरी है, कहाँ पे फायदे हो सकते हैं, कि कितने टाइम लगते हैं, क्या क्वालिटी क्वांटिटी होनी चाहिए. Just for example, this is like the record form. Okay, now comes the stages of types of training. So basically these are all the types of training that can be done. So we'll start one by one and we'll discuss each and every one in detail. On the job, job instruction, lecture, audiovisual, teletraining, video conferencing. Then we have program learning. Then we have vestibule or stimulated training and computer-based training. So these all we'll discuss one by one. Let's start with on-the-job training. Now, what is on-the-job training? The word on the job means when the person is actually doing the job and you are going to train that person. So you have identified that this person is not working well, or he or she might require some help, and then you go with some helping towards by doing actually on the job. So there are different methods that can be adopted. Number one is coaching or understudy. Now, what is this method? Basically, in this method, you are going to see that how the that person is working, और जो क्या होता है कि आपका जो सुपरवाइजर होता है ऑब्जर्व करता है आपको, वो देखता है अच्छा दिस इज समथिंग, वो आपको कोच कर सकता है, आपको बता सकता है, आपको गाइड करता है कि दिस इज नीड्स टू बी डन, एंड देन दे बिकम familiarized with that. अच्छा ये चीज़ है, अच्छा इस तरह ये काम कर लो, इस तरह ये कर लो, वो आपको एक कहीं ना कहीं आपको ऑब्जर्व कर रहा है थ्रू ऑब्जर्वेशन, थ्रू डिफरेंट थिंग्स, द वे यू आर डूइंग, वो आपको कोच अंडरस्टडी करता है. Another method is job rotation. Sometimes what we do, okay, they can also move you from one job to another job if that's the requirement. कि अगर ऐसा होना चाहिए, तो this is also one way. Then the last technique is special assignment technique. Now, according to this technique, your low level executives, okay, they are given experience on working on actual problems. For example, being the executive, I'm getting a training on something. So my boss gave me any special assignment just to have the idea that either I'm able to cope up with that. मुझे क्या समझ आ रही है, कितनी समझ आ रही है, जो मैं ट्रेनिंग ले रहा हूँ, either it's being like उसके साथ वो relevant है या नहीं. So they give you assignments on that. अब इसका फायदा क्या है? Definitely it's expensive and you are doing on the job. There is no expense related to that, and also immediate feedback from the particular individual can be carried out. So these are the basic advantages of on the job. Another method is job instruction training. Now, what is job instruction training? Basically, you list each and every job task along with the key points. Like for example, whatever the steps that needs to be done, you are going to have a key points on that. For example, इस हमने पहले example ली. A person has, if we talk about a welding person or a motor or a person who's working on a motor machine, so he need to start motor. Okay, fine. Start. Then what's the distance? What's the thing? So एक हम दो बना लेंगे कॉलम्स में, एक लिखेंगे स्टेप्स एंड उसके सामने हम लिख देंगे की पॉइंट. सो दिस इज बेसिकली जॉब इंस्ट्रक्शन ट्रेनिंग. Another method that is like lecture method. जिस तरह अभी हम लोग lecture method in terms of audio visual, in terms of like blended हम चल रहे हैं, इसी तरह organization में भी lecture methods हो सकते हैं. Now how they use this is like again they have जो उनके listeners हैं उनको बताते हैं कि these are the things you need to follow. Always start with the good foot, not with the wrong foot. हमेशा ये नहीं पहले से बता दो ये भी होगा, ये भी होगा, so that they become afraid or they become maybe sometimes they become offended as well. So again, don't do that. हमको नहीं बताओ ये आपको बिल्कुल किसी को ये नहीं कहना होता कि यार you're not good at that or you are not capable enough. That's why I'm training you. So it's not like that. You need to start with the right thing. Keep your conclusions short, whatever you're going to come across, हमेशा short रखो, be alert, जो भी बात करो, maintain eye contact, be sure that वो आपको सुन सकते हैं, control handling. So these are basically how effective lectures needs to be done. जिस तरह हम classroom अगर हम जब हम classroom study करते थे, तो these are the things. कोई भी एक जो आपका faculty है, जो instructor है, these things need to be kept in mind. Now we have audiovisual techniques. Again, this is very good technique. जिसमें अभी हम PowerPoint use कर रहे हैं, video conferencing होगी, audio tapes हो गए, video tapes हो गए, DVDs. Again, maybe films if they are related, so they can be done. Because बहुत सी चीजें आप live lectures में नहीं demonstrate कर पाते, so that's why you need alternative things to deliver that training. Another way of the training is teletraining. Now, what is this? Basically, it's a central location. Like, for example, my organization is located, being a multinational organization, अगर मेरा office बाहर है, तो मुझे उन्होंने training देनी है, तो they can have like, they can have hook up all these television sets all together. जिसमें अगर हम एक बात करें, अमेरिका, अगर हम होंडा की बात करें, तो होंडा में जब उन्होंने फर्स्ट टाइम ये स्टार्ट किया, तो उन्होंने क्या किया, एक सैटेलाइट टेलीविजन टेक्नोलॉजी के थ्रू अपने इंजीनियर्स को ट्रेन किया, सो दैट एवरीबडी ऑन द सेम बोर्ड, हर किसी को वही चीज़ें पता हो अक्रॉस होंडा, जो अगर हम यूज़ करते हैं कहीं पे भी, और उन्होंने ये सैटेलाइट के थ्रू अपने सारे इंजीनियर्स को ट्रेन किया. सो बेसिकली दिस इज टेली ट्रेनिंग. Then we have video conferences. You know, आजकल this is right now, आप लोग बहुत सी conferences when you are attending which allow different people to, आप अपने पीसी पे बैठ के just like trainer अपना ऑडियो विजुअल खोल देता है, जिस तरह भी हम भी अगर कर रहे हैं और वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंसेज में डिफरेंट चीज़ों का बताना चाहें तो we can train with that. It's not like lecture room definitely नहीं होगी, but अगर हम lecture room को हम video conference में ले गए, because everything is there, trainer is there, training are there, so we can have video conferences. Sometimes this can be recorded as well. Okay, now we have another thing that is called program instruction. Now, what are program instruction? Basically, program instruction is a systematic method for teaching job skills. Now, what are the job skills? Like presenting questions or facts, allowing the person to respond, giving the learner immediate feedback on the accuracy of his or her knowledge. Basically, this program instruction वहाँ पे यूज ज़्यादा होता है जहाँ पे फॉर एग्जांपल मैंने क्वेश्चन दिए, मैंने आपको कहा कि these are the questions, then I give you some time, they respond back, and through that response I can tell that person is either on the same page or not. So it's like it's dual flow method. Definitely इसमें आपका जो एक learner है उससे आप directly feedback ले रहे हो, वो उसके responses से you get the idea that either that person is on the track or not, because through that responses you can evaluate and you can ask the next question. So the advantages are like self-paced learning है, immediate feedback है, obviously training time आपका कम है because आप जो भी चीज पूछ रहे हो to and flow and forth में you are going with that. Okay, then we have vestibule, or you can say simulated training. Now, what is simulated training? Basically, this type of training is being conducted special of the training equipment. बहुत सी ट्रेनिंग हमारी ऐसी होती है जो हम लोग नहीं कर पाते on the job. So we need to maybe जिसमें इस वाली ट्रेनिंग में we need to have equipment, machinery. तो हम what we do, we try to go with something, हम इस तरह ऐसा होगा, हमने बहुत दफा देखा होगा, जैसे पायलट ट्रेनिंग है या अगर कोई हैवी इक्विपमेंट है, so हम उसका एक maybe some part of like mechanical engineering maybe, so हम उसकी labs होती हैं so that they have the demonstration that what actually needs to be done in corporate or organizations में, they have the idea कि उसको use कैसे करना है, कैसे करना है. In this way, the बाद में when they are going to view and go on the job, so definitely उसका जो hazards and that can be reduced as well. Then we have computer-based training. This is again very very much in use. आजकल सब लोग we are going for this computer-based training. Through this computer training, everybody is like हम लोग जिसमें सारे we are connected through. Another very important aspect is electronic performance support system. Through this support system, you can have the idea that either we are on the same page or not while developing. Like अगर हम अपने current employees की बात करूँ, तो मेरी current employees की trainings में क्या चीज़ effective हो रही है, तो we can have this. For example, अगर जिसमें आप लोग customer care center call करते हो, they ask you step by step, अच्छा क्या मसला है, किस चीज़ का मसला है, okay, आप मुझे बताएं कि कहाँ का आपने क्या था. So they take you step by step procedure. So basically those step by step procedure is basically that performance support system. Because अगर मैं एक बात करूँ रिप्रेजेंटेटिव की कहीं पे भी वो उसको हर स्टेप में भी याद करना मुश्किल है. If they go with step by step, so again that becomes their life easy as well. कि अगर आपको किसी को ट्रैक डाउन करने किसी मसले में भी अगर फॉर एग्जाम्पल मैं कहूँ मेरे मोबाइल में कोई ऐप डाउनलोड नहीं हो रही या व्हाट्सएवर का कोई फीचर हो नहीं रहा तो दे कैन गाइड अच्छा अच्छा फोन ऑन करें यहाँ पे जाए मे बी सेटिंग्स में जाए सेटिंग्स में ये करें तो ये करें. This is basically that performance support systems are. Then we have learning portals. आपका LMS है. This is one of the example. Advantages are definitely computer based trainings में आपका time कम हो सकता है, cost effective obviously इतना ज़्यादा इसका नहीं होते charges, instruction consistency whatever I'm instructing or giving instruction that can be followed easily. There are different types that can be done. One is intelligent tutoring system. Basically, this is something whatever the trainee have responses through are coming. That's the best method of facilitating the trainees learning. हम वही बात कहते हैं जब तक ट्रेनी को समझ नहीं आ रही जो ट्रेनी के रिस्पॉन्सेज हैं उसके थ्रू हम अगर उसको ट्रेनिंग करें कि उसको समझते हुए हम देखेंगे ट्रेनिंग कितना ज्यादा समझ रहा है किसी चीज को भी उसके अंदर कितना इम्पार्ट हो रहा है. दैट इज बेसिकली इंटेलिजेंट ट्यूटरिंग सिस्टम. इंटरैक्टिव मल्टीमीडिया ट्रेनिंग अगेन अनदर मेथड इज लाइक डिफरेंट हम मल्टीमीडिया ट्रेनिंग हम बात करें ऑडियो विजुअल्स की वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंसिंग की टेलीट्रेनिंग्स की अगर हम सबको ब्लेंड कर लेके चलें तो इंटरैक्टिव एक सेशन कर सकते हैं. जिस तरह अभी हम लोग की क्लासरूम में भी जिस तरह आपको मैं अगर केस स्टडीज दे रही हूँ मैं आपको डिफरेंट वीडियोस दिखा रही हूँ आपको वीडियो लिंक्स दे रही हूँ. So this is basically interactive multimedia trainings. Then we have virtual reality. I guess we all are familiar. Like अगर एक simulation की तरह आपको अगर एक हेड गियर या ग्लव्स पकड़ा दिया जाए और आपको लगा अच्छा एक जिस तरह एक virtual reality का एक जिस तरह गेम आपको वो बना दिया जाए then you are seeing by that अच्छा कि अच्छा ऐसा होगा. So everything is done virtually by simulating what actually needs to be done on the job. तो हम एक बिल्कुल वैसे सिमुलेशन बना देंगे कि ये ऐसा काम हमने जॉब पे भी जाके करना है so that the learner have the idea. Now, these are some of the steps that needs to be done in doing this on-the-job training. Number one, prepare the learner. That whatever we are going to do, prepare the learner that what we is going to be taught, क्या करेंगे, कैसे करेंगे, क्या हमारी conditions हैं, कौन-कौन से material, equipment, से चीजें हम use करेंगे, so that that person become familiar. उस बंदे के लिए आसान हो जाए उसको digest करना भी और समझना. Second step is present the operation that how it's going to be done. Like आज हम क्या करेंगे maybe if you want to divide so we can divide or step by step we can give the guidance. Also we tells the learner कि हमारी क्या expectations हैं क्या requirements हैं what needs to be done so that it will be जो हम अभी यहाँ पढ़ेंगे वो आपके वो आप बाद में अपनी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन पे या अपनी जॉब पे अगर right now you can implement और कितना टाइम लगेगा आपको implement करने में if you go slow. Then we need to do a tryout. So whatever we are going to do, like on the job training, जो भी इसको सिखा रही हैं, हम साथ साथ उसके ये इसको practically implement भी करते रहो ताकि आपको साथ साथ समझ आती रहे. Otherwise, whatever I'm going to tell you, अगर मैंने आज बता दिया, but आपने इसको implement करके नहीं देखा, तो definitely when it goes to be compiled up, it becomes really difficult for any learner to digest all the things. So do a tryout. Last but not the least, keep a follow-up that whatever that person is doing, either that person is keeping up with the pace and time. Quality and quantity should be maintained. Nothing should be compromised on that. Develop a habit कि आप रोजाना उसके पूछो कि what exactly has been implemented or what exactly has been imparted in you. कुछ क्या समझ आ रही, क्या समझ नहीं आ रही. Most importantly, get the feedback from the person that either that person is on the same pace with the, whatever you are guiding that person. So keep a follow-up. Okay. Then we have different हमारे पास apprenticeship trainings होती हैं बहुत ज़्यादा. We talk about diplomas जिस तरह होते हैं मैकेनिकल में इलेक्ट्रिकल में. आजकल जिस तरह अगर आप बात करें पाकिस्तान में तो जिस तरह एक हमारे जो प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने दिस हुनरमंद schemes निकाली हुई हैं. So this is basically apprenticeship training electricians की different so that they have the practical knowledge while before doing them on the job. Then we have informal learning. बहुत जगह organizations में just like daily हम लोग routine basis पे routine पे जो भी काम कर रहे होते हैं उसको guide करते रहते हैं. This is basically this is informal. Job instruction training जिस हमने पहले कहा instructions आप उसको दे दे followed by the key points. These are some of the examples of US, but still if we talk about Pakistan, present Pakistan की हैं, we all also have different in Pakistan, like different उसमें हमारे पास apprenticeships आती हैं, different diplomas अगर हम करवाते हैं, जहाँ हम उसको कहते हैं vocational trainings होती हैं, जो skill based trainings होती हैं, in terms of like how to use this thing, आजकल if we talk about women में women entrepreneurship में this is also one like vocational training में कि if they are good at handicraft नहीं है, if they are good at jute, if they are good at anything or something, so let's just do it. Let's try it out. So again, these are all the trainings, vocational training, some of the training centers and those who are working on these elements. Then we have literacy training techniques. Again, like अगर एक person को बिल्कुल भी कुछ नहीं आता, basic job skills भी नहीं, तो how you're going to train that person? Different, अगर for example you need to, sometimes हम बहुत दफा organizations में हम उसको कोई उसकी job related है तो मे बी हम उसको literacy like education related उसको programs में enroll करा सकते हैं या उसको help out करते हैं कि आप basic skills को कैसे improve कर सको. लास्ट बट नॉट द लीस्ट इज ऑडियो विजुअल बेस्ड ट्रेनिंग, जिसमें हमने पहले बात की ऑडियो विजुअल, ऑडियो हम उसको या फिल्म मूवीज डीवीडी टेप्स के थ्रू गिव दैट पर्सन के व्हाट नीड्स टू बी डन. जिस तरह बहुत दफा एक हम उसको एक आप देखा होगा ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस आपको एक वॉक टूर देती हैं, दिस इज लाइक समथिंग वर्चुअल टूर एज वेल, सो हैव द आइडिया कि करना क्या कैसे करना है. ओके, देन वी हैव, जैसे हमने बात की टेली ट्रेनिंग की, डिफरेंट टेली ट्रेनिंग, वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंसिंग, ये भी इधर भी है, वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंस आप कर सकते हो, एंड ट्रेनिंग थ्रू द इंटरनेट. लाइक अगर टॉक अबाउट दिस कोविड सिचुएशन, सो एवरीथिंग वाज बीइंग डन इवन इन द क्लास. पहले हमारा लेक्चर बेस्ड था, ये ऑडियो विजुअल था. वी हैव ऑल comes up to the situation that we are training through the internet. So these are all the types of training methods that can be used. So we will be back with another lecture, another thing about development in our next topic. Stay with us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for having. Take care.